Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Shon Kingrey is the Vice President of Fixed Operations at Kayser Automotive Group, and Ashleigh Ellis is with us today from Brooke.ai, one of the hottest technologies in retail automotive. Ashleigh and Shon, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. Great to be here. Thank you.
So, Ashleigh, we had the honor of having Shon on a number of panels with some other esteemed retailers talking about Brooke.ai. And I'm interested today because Shon is up in Wisconsin. He has recently taken over this 7-dealer group. And Ashleigh, I understand your technology will be involved as well.
Yep, that's what we're working towards.
I love it. So, Shon, give us a little bit of the story on what you came in, what you found, and where you're headed.
Thank you, Ted. So, I'll tell you guys, it started, first of all, they're a very profitable group. They're a profitable group that are kind of stuck, and I call it the Fred Flintstone era, and that's a little harsh, but they have service advisors here that are making their own appointments, and their service advisors are controlling the flow, which then causes the 35 waiters at 10 a.m. in the morning, and then you have tech standing around at 1:30 with nothing to do, because you don't want to upsell on waiters. You're just trying to get them through the shop. So Ashleigh and I, who obviously I've had a long-term relationship with, started talking. We're instituting a BDC is what we're doing. Obviously, we started with a scheduling tool because there wasn't even a scheduling tool in place. So we're getting the basics in place. And then the next step we're going to logically roll into is being obviously Brooke.ai, because I need the advisors to do what they do. And what advisors are supposed to do? They're supposed to advise and sell, not answer phone calls. I don't need them to be a clerical position. I need them to be a profit source. And that's the next step.
Actually, I got to ask you, how often do you see this, that advisors are still taking those phone calls? Do you see that quite a bit?
Not today. I started here in 2016, and that was kind of the start of service BDCs, especially for like GM. But today, most of the dealers I talk to, they've already taken the phones from the service advisors because like they can't focus on the people in the lane. They're left with no choice but leave the phone ringing, and people just constantly realizing, no wonder I can't get in touch with this place. Or, try to answer the phone with customers in the drive at 8:30 in the morning when everybody wants to book an appointment, but everybody's showing up for their already booked appointment. I mean, we don't see it often anymore. It's a little bit Stone Age, like Shon said.
And Shon, that would have to be probably your experience as well, coming from Florida.
It is. It's a bit of a culture shock. Even in Florida, even being the group that we started with 4 stores and going to 20, guys, they weren't answering phone calls even at that point. I mean, so yeah, it is a culture shock. I knew what I was getting into. It's obviously nothing I wasn't anticipating. The pushback's a little shocking that you've got guys that, have been here, and we've talked about it before, Ted. You've got a lot of 40-year employees here, a lot of them who are like, no, I schedule my own appointments. But when the 3 of us are service advisors, you get Ted, Ashleigh, and Shon on the service drive, and Ted answers the phone and says, my next available appointment's in 3 weeks, and Ashleigh's sitting there and has nothing for 2 weeks. But that's what happens when you do that. And that's what happens when you let the advisors control your workflow and you control your shop flow. It just doesn't work.
So, Shon, you've seen the way this should look and the way it should work. So, it's probably not all that unusual, okay? So what's your plan of action, and, where are you headed with this, and, how do you envision deploying Brooke.ai?
Sure. So, I started here November 1st. I kind of waited till, this mid-December, and obviously had the let's look in the mirror and take good hard looks and probably look at the ugly baby and throw all the bathwater out. And obviously, first things first, I have to get a scheduling tool in place. We're rolling that out literally as we speak. We should have that up and running today or tomorrow, literally. And once that's up in place, then Brooke then can come behind. And trust me when I tell you, Ashleigh's ready to go. She's chomping at the bit, but they're ready to go behind the scenes, and we'll launch Brooke.ai directly behind it. It'll almost go seamless at the same time. Again, I need to get the scheduling tool in place first, and then Brooke.ai will come right behind it. And that'll be our in-house BDC.
Yeah. And what's great about Brooke is she's already integrated with Xtime. So once Shon has all of those settings in place in Xtime, it's just going to flow right into Brooke. So advisors can't control the schedule anymore. Brooke will do whatever Shon tells Brooke to do.
Now, Shon, I think I know the answer to this. They already had Xtime deployed, right?
One of the Chevy stores did, the other 6 did not, sir.
Wow.
Which might be the delay, because hypothetically, I might have promised Ashleigh a January 10th launch date. Now we're at a January 25th launch date, which is why I say we're launching now. It got pushed back because of the culture, and I think that's a very overused word, but the culture shock that's coming at the store saying, what do you mean we aren't going to do this anymore?
So, Shon, you had no electronic scheduling assistance of any kind. You were relying entirely on the advisors to schedule their work.
Scheduling into a DMS system that, as we all know, you're scheduling blind.
Wow.
Yes, that is correct.
Wow. So, you had resistance. I imagine no resistance, no sale. You're still going to have some resistance until people start seeing the benefit of it. But like you just described, you can't have those waiters, all coming in at one time waiting, and then technicians standing around early in the afternoon looking for work.
When you have an old school advisor who knows that their magic number is 12 to 18 ROs a day, they're going to schedule those appointments what are convenient for them. Magically, those 18 ROs are all going to be there before noon. And again, magically, you walk through the shop at 1:30, and it's like a ghost town. You could hit a tennis ball and not hit a single person. That's the culture shock. So it's funny, and Ted, you and I've talked a lot about this. When I met with my 3 owners in my first couple of days, they said, hey, we're glad everybody loves you. I said, that's about to change. So I can tell you that it's a little lonely in Wisconsin right now. The love is not huge. I will promise you that.
Okay. Not a honeymoon period currently.
No, it's not. And again, and this is not about me, this is about them, but there is only one speed. And as our friend John Fairchild says, remember, Shon, not everybody works at Shon speed. That's okay. You're going to either get on board or you're just not. It's just that simple. Because this is the way you do business. To Ashleigh's point, if you don't have a BDC and you don't have an automated BDC or whatever the case is where we're all going towards, and we'll get to why that's a big advantage. If you don't have it, guys, then you're caught way behind the times. Like you're way prehistoric behind the times.
Well, Shon, you mentioned that it's profitable there, but I just have a hard time thinking it's as profitable as it could be if, even with outbound, if the service advisors aren't doing the outbound, how much are you missing in campaigns and recalls and decline maintenance, which you're not getting any walkarounds if you've got 35 people in the drive in the morning.
You are correct. And it's funny you say that. Is when we were doing the 2023 budget, the 5 GMs of the 7 group store, I promised the owners an 18% year over year growth. And for those that know my past, 18% is a cakewalk. And quite frankly, I'm being very conservative at 18%. And I think just the installation of a Brooke, of a BDC and of a scheduling tool, 18% is literally should almost be. I made the comment, and I shouldn't say it, but Helen Keller can give you 18%, guys. 18% is just controlling the flow of the shop.
So, Ashleigh, you made a good point that this is actually going to free up the advisors to do what they need to do, to look at the car with the customer in tow, to be able to get the mileage, pronounce it in front of the customer, look at the primary concern, ask about additional needs, look for anything obvious with the customer. And I imagine, Shon, this time of year up in Wisconsin, we're probably topping off washer fluid or checking batteries, perhaps even in the drive. A lot of things that advisors should be doing to build value in the process.
That they're not doing now. To be very honest with you, Ted, how can they do it? Again, to Ashleigh's point, when they're answering 30 phone calls a day.
Yeah, wow.
Right. So right now it's that they can't. And then I think what Shon's even bigger challenge is going to be, like, Brooke will take the phones. That'll be easy. But how do you train your service advisors not only to want to sell, but to know how?
Correct.
That's going to be a huge step for Shon, of even knowing how to be what we talk about is being like a trusted advisor in the lane and not being what's perceived as just, the upsell guy. He's always trying to sell me something else.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ashleigh, this is a good point. Actually, what you offer through Brooke.ai, and you're unique in the marketplace because you've got that deep experience with proactive in the BDC sector for a long, long time. You actually are a resource to help advisors manage their time by having and deploying your tools.
Yep.
I like that. That is
and
fun.
learn some soft skills, which is going to be huge.
Yeah. So time management, Shon, is on the retail side. You know what? It's all time management from what you're describing to me.
It is. It's workflow. And it's funny. We talk about recruiting, and I can throw Joe Lockhart's name out there or John Fairfeld for training. To Ashleigh's point, how do you teach, or how do you expect to bring a technician in here, knowing that at 10 o'clock they have 30 waiters? Because all you're doing is pulling cars in and out. They're not going to make money. They're not going to stay. How do you bring a trainer in and have them train when that's all you have? Back to the point, you have to change the culture of the way the dealership runs. And again, my plug for Brooke.ai is this: Wisconsin is no prettier. Well, the weather's a little better, to be honest. It's a little chillier. But anyway, the marketplace is no better for employees here. And the advantage of Brooke.ai is, and we've all, I think Tully Williams and I have worn this out. Brooke doesn't call in sick. Brooke doesn't call in late. And Brooke isn't texting when the phone's ringing, okay? Brooke is an automated system that answers the phone when you need it to answer the phone. And back to Ashleigh's point one more time, it will schedule when X time tells there's an opening. It's not when Ted's schedule is full and Ashleigh's is open. It's gonna land that airplane on a good time management roll, Ted.
Shon, perhaps I'm a little bit out of turn, but if I were to call your stores right now to make and I realize different stores, different locations, but to make a service maintenance appointment, how long until you can get me in?
Pre-X time, 3 to 4 weeks. Post-X time,
Really?
tomorrow.
Really?
It is that much of a culture change. Back to the point, Ted, when you have one guy who's been here 40 years where everybody calls him, but the new guy that bought a car last week gets funneled back to that person, It's a 3-week delay when Ashleigh's literally standing around twiddling her thumbs because she has nothing to do.
All right. So with that dramatic shift, any noticeability on the part of the employees and the team there as far as what X time has done?
Ask me in 30 days, sir. I'll let you know how the answer to that goes. Okay.
All right.
You know what, Ted? Let me take that a step further. I talked about the delay in the execution of this from the 10th to the 25th and getting it rolled out this week. That resistance, that delay wasn't X Time's fault. That was our fault. We had staff that were resistant to even installing the system because, quite frankly, they're going to make you look in the mirror. I mean, and that's what it is. And I'm not taking away from Brooke, but again, Brooke has to have the runway to land the airplane. And right now that runway is clogged with cars.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I haven't pushed Shon too hard, is because I don't want to participate in failure. I don't want Brooke at the stores yet. She won't be successful. You know what I mean? Like, we want to be able to tell the real story of success here. And it takes a little bit of what Shon's doing is layering on the technology and the training.
By the way, Ted, she's pushing. Don't lie her. That there was no truth to that statement. She hasn't been pushing very hard.
You know what? You've clearly got, with Proactive and with Brooke, a great relationship, Shon, because you can rely on them for a lot of the things and a lot of the needs and a lot of the technology. And like I said earlier, the resistance is really natural on a lot of service drive installations, not in Wisconsin, but in colder territories that I have gone in. I have seen employees who are resistant to change do all kinds of things, okay, to make sure that maybe there were a few stumbling blocks along the way. So, I think it's normal that you encounter that.
Especially in Friday afternoons, by the way. It's amazing I say the main shop is dead at 1 o'clock on a Wednesday. Heck, on 10 o'clock in the morning on a Friday, because they've already done their deal. And again, it's a challenge. It sounds very negative because I'm definitely not a negative person, I'm a glass half full kind of guy. And you talk about the relationship. I can tell you that Brooke and I talk late. She always makes the joke after 7 o'clock. There's some late night conversations where we're bouncing ideas back and forth on each other because I got to make sure that this rolls out right, correctly the first time, because you get one chance. You get one try to roll this out.
So here's the point I want to help convey to the audience. It's Ashleigh over at Brooke.ai and Proactive, because of their experience in retail, is able to work with a dealer group like Shon Kingrey at Kayser Automotive to help deploy this so that it will be successful because of their retail and her retail automotive experience. Ashleigh, that's a big differentiator that you've got in the marketplace to help ensure success. So, congratulations to you on that.
Yeah. I mean, and Brooke was the only one developed with millions of actual service calls to teach her how to understand and respond. I mean, we have an incredible history in the automotive industry, and I'm excited to see what's next.
Well, speaking of what's next, Ashley, anything on the horizon? Anything that you were able to share with us just yet here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable last week of January?
Yeah, so we will be rolling out within the next month. Brooke, we say she's been promoted. She will be doing outbound calls for dealers for open recalls. She can already promote recalls when customers call in. She can promote maintenance recommended by the manufacturer when customers call in, but now she gets that extra opportunity to remember customers and call them and remind them that they have those open recalls. And that's definitely going to set Brooke apart in the industry.
Very strong and very proactive. So we'll have to leave it there. Shon, congratulations. And we plan to check in with you to see how it's coming along. And Ashley, thank you for being that considerate to work with the fixed ops community to make sure that this is successful.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. If our audience wants more information, you can visit Brooke.ai on the web. By the way, later this week, Ashley, will Brooke be at the NADA by chance?
We will. Yep. We'll be at NADA. Look for the big proactive banner at the top, and Brooke's everywhere. We'll be over near X time because they're our good buddies.
Okay. And again, if you're not going to NADA, Brooke.ai on the web, there is an 866 number that's scrolling across the screen as well. Ashleigh Ellis from Brooke and Shon Kingrey from Kayser Automotive Group, thank you for all that you do. The Brooke panel here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you, Ted.
Thank you.